Hey everybody, this is Perch, and I'm here with Joe, who's going to do more of the talking. How are you, Joe?
I'm all right, Perch. How are you?
I'm, I think both of us are near death, but
Yeah, well, what are you gonna do, right? It's
yeah,
you know,
what are you going to do? Hey, this is one of those things that it came out, or the announcement came out. A bunch of people talked about it. I honestly haven't seen that many people talking about it, but in fairness, I haven't been up for watching a lot of videos. So have a lot of people been talking about this comic that we're about to talk about?
I have here's the thing. I haven't seen a lot on like Twitter, for example, but it turns out that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, well, there you go. I it does turn that out. So you clicked on the video. Obviously, we're talking about Fantastic Four Full Circle, and this hardcover. Came out about a month ago in beginning of September. Alex Ross is our writer and illustrator.
Mhm.
And what? Tell me about what how this come about? Like who's doing this?
This is Abrams Books, which is a great company. They put out some really good stuff I enjoy. One of their bigger books, I think, last year was Run, which was
Hmm.
like a follow up to the March trilogy.
Yeah,
But yeah, Abrams has been around for a long time. They put out more like prestige books. Oh, they also did there was the Fantastic Four panel by panel where Chip Kidd
right.
worked with the photographer to take high definition pictures of a high grade copy and basically do a really blown up panel by panel look in this like fat hardcover. It's excellent. I've read that multiple times already. It's a fantastic way to read the first issue of Fantastic Four.
Yeah, no, I they do some pretty cool stuff. They have this Abram Comics Arts line. You've got some, but it looks like they're trending to trying to do more serious projects. They've got a lot in there,
Yeah.
but they definitely have this partnership with Marvel. They did some blacklight posters, but now they're doing some original work. And so this first one, I think this is the first one they've done of with Marvel, is Alex Ross Full
Mhm.
Circle original graphic novel. This I remember a lot of people getting excited, and it feels like Marvel licensing something out because that is what they're doing.
Yep.
But this comic, so you have it. So tell us what do you think
Yeah.
about it? How do you like it?
This is incredible. It's a wider book than comics. It's oversized, so it's like a Marvel omnibus tall, but it's a
Hmm.
little wider, and it is just gorgeous. Alex Ross writes and draws and does some of the coloring. It's he is assisted by Josh Johnson, and then Ariana Mayer, who I do know is the letterer on this,
Hmm.
and it's not quite that photorealistic. Like if you're familiar with Alex Ross from like Kingdom Come, this does not look like Kingdom Come.
Right.
This looks like what you would expect from that sort of like comic book kind of art. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Well, it looks to me like not copying, because that's not accurate at all, but it looks like
Yeah.
Alex Ross trying to channel his inner Kirby in a way.
Oh
It's
yeah.
got that comic art, that Kirby style, but it is definitely Alex Ross. But like you said, it's a gorgeous book. Tons of
Yeah.
complexity.
Well, he even mimics how Jack at one point in Fantastic Four would do those like photo pages
Hmm.
in the issues.
Yeah.
So he even mimics that once in a double page spread in the book. But again, really hitting all of the core Stan and Jack stuff. The characterizations are spot on. If you like Stan and Jack's Fantastic Four, this is the closest you'll probably ever get to experiencing that again in like a brand new product.
I totally agree. So I love the comic. It is a contained story. It's
Mhm.
not meant to keep going or anything like that. But it's beautiful. Every page looks just incredibly rendered. You said something. It is the most spot on Fantastic Four characterization. If you're talking about the first 40, 50 years of Fantastic Four's life, that is, it is exactly that team until about 2015 or so. I mean, it feels completely like that team.
Oh yeah, you know, and it does pay off to fans of Fantastic Four. You don't need to know. You can come in cold, but if you're a fan, especially of like issues like 51, This Man, This Monster, and stuff like that, there's payoff to that. There's payoff for old fans, and I think it would read just fine for someone who just knew the Fantastic Four but wanted to experience a cool story.
So before we get to the sales, and that's kind of what we want to talk about, if this Fantastic Four movie is coming up, feels to me that based on the success of this book and what we're about to get into, this is the book people are going to be pointing people to when that movie comes out. They're going to point to this. They're not going to point to a recent trade paperback. Maybe they point to the initial Stan Lee Kirby work. Maybe they point to the John Byrne run. But it feels like this stands in that era.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, this is if you're doing the team, if you're doing the classic team, and you really want to establish that, why would you point people to anything other than this book, unless you are pointing them to either the original Standard Jack stuff, the Byrne run, and a few other things here or there. The DeFalco run gets a bad rap. But yeah, it's phenomenal. And again, this is something that it's not cheap either. It's $25. It's $20 on Amazon. You get a little bit of a discount, but you're paying for the quality.
Well, I mean, 20 some bucks, as you say, on Amazon, $20. But it's hardcover and it's 64 pages. And you do get, in addition to the Jack Kirby style art in the story, you also do get a painted origin.
Yeah.
So so you love it. So now comes to all right. So how is it doing? Because it's not part of Marvel continuity. So therefore, the thing that we always hear is that you can't do stuff like this because it's not tied into the continuity. It's a standalone thing. It's not going to sell well. It probably didn't do well. So how is this doing?
As of right now, this moment, it is 941 ranked in books.
The comic books,
not comic book. Oh, it's 931 rather. And not comic books, books.
All books.
It is all books on Amazon. It is under 1,000, which is, to put this in perspective, Watchmen is around 5,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dogman is usually around 1,500 after the initial buzz of the Dogman, right?
Yeah. Some volumes, retain higher than others. Sometimes, like the first volume, the most recent volume, and the ones in the middle all kind of go all over the place. But if you click on specifically superhero comics and graphic novels, it is number 1, followed by a Kindle version of the most recent Dark Crisis, and number 3. Number 3 is the Marvel Encyclopedia. It is outselling the Marvel Encyclopedia.
Yeah, it's incredible how well it's doing. So yeah, number 1, as you said, depending on the list you're in, because there's lots of different, you have media tie-in, you have comics, graphic novels, etc. You have a lot of different types.
Yeah, it's currently number one in multiple. It's number one in media tie-in, historical and biographical fiction, graphic novels, superhero comics, and graphic novels. It's all number one.
It basically is getting beat by some manga in some categories, but not, again, it's kind of weird how Amazon does it, because you can go to, say, the upcoming version of My Hero Academia that's ranked as a pre-order number 204. So there's things that are coming out new that spike over it, but they last to that spot for a week or so, and then they quickly drop down. That's how the pre-order game works. Yeah. This comic is out, not a pre-order, been out for a month, as mentioned, and it is, again, it's just doing incredibly well. So just tremendous.
There's
No, I mean, what else do you say? But so you heard me, and I sound like a broken record. Some people have told me that. I've said that a good idea for these companies, Marvel, DC, would be to go get a top tier writer artist, put them on a book, put out one a year, and do a couple of these. You know, there's the editor at Marvel had a similar idea. This is clearly vindication that that's the right way to go, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, this is one of the problems with what you've been advocating and what we've talked about here and throwing around ideas, that when we have people on too, they all tend to agree, like, just pay someone the money and put out a good product that's true to the core of the characters. And it can be a one and done graphic novel or something like that, or a one shot. And this 150% proves that point. You can't deny it.
I mean, so Alex Ross, if you think about making your money back, been out a month at this level of Amazon, selling this well, clearly Abrams Comic Arts is not in the red on this one. Whatever they paid Alex Ross. And they're not, if you think about the difference between paying somebody $100 a page or $1,000 a page, certainly that's a lot more money. But to put in perspective, 64 pages, $1,000 a page, $64,000. This graphic novel, based on the sales for the month of September, is clearly cracking millions of dollars.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
So I mean, but so clearly, like, how do you want to attack this? Math.
Yeah, I mean, to give people an idea, and it was selling a lot more even like last week, and the number's gonna wax and wane. It'll jump around a bit, but to give you an idea, today the estimate is that it sold 152 copies
today
on Amazon today.
Yeah.
Most trade paperbacks that come out, they're lucky if they sell that much on Amazon in 6 months, or a year, really. Like,
yeah,
it's most of them don't sell that much. To give you an example, the number one on Amazon right now for Marvel, if you're looking at just Marvel Comics, is the Secret Wars paperback, the Jonathan Hickman stuff. And it is at 7,656. And that's the number one. The number one thing Marvel is putting out on Amazon right now is an event from like 6 years ago.
Which is bad enough.
And and it's selling a good amount, but it's selling 31 copies, they're estimating. So this licensed book is selling 5 times the amount of Marvel's highest selling graphic novel on Amazon right now.
Yeah.
5 times.
I mean, if you calculate out kind of the sales this thing has gotten, and that's just through Amazon, you're not counting direct comic stores, and guaranteed this one's going to do great in the direct market just based on the collectors. People know Alex Ross. Like it's going to do quite well there.
Sure.
This book, by all accounts, made the money back to produce it in less than 7 days.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's striking to me because it seems very easy. How hard would it be to go do Walt Simonson Thor? Or, as much as I'm sure there's a feud between the two, could you give Chris Claremont and John Byrne some money to do one graphic novel together again? Why wouldn't you go and try and do something like that?
Well, if you just paid John Byrne for the stuff he's already done.
Sure. Yeah, why not put this, what is it, the X-Men, what is he calling it, the alternate universe stuff?
Yeah, it's like it's not the Lost Years, that was the Marvel thing, but they're Hidden Years rather. But yeah, it's like his version of everything after the Elsewhere, that's it, yeah. But yeah, I mean, or get Barry Windsor-Smith to do a graphic novel in the same vein, like do a Wolverine graphic novel.
Sure.
Do a story about Wolverine wandering around, X amount of weeks after he escaped, and runs into people, gets into some good fights, has to deal with the government, some more. Like, it writes itself. Get J.M. DeMatteis and Mike Zeck, Bob McLeod. Get them back together, not for a Craven's Last Hunt. Right. Let's do it again. Like, let's not do the 7th or 8th hunt, Grim Hunt, Hidden Hunt, Final Hunt, First Hunt. Like, it sucks. But
the hunt for
yeah, but take a villain who maybe isn't do what they did to Craven. Take a villain, like take a Mysterio, and do a 64-page, just a gorgeous graphic novel of Mysterio doing deadlier, more awful things, really elevate the threat. Maybe Mary Jane, since if you go back to around that time, this is right around when David Michelinie and Todd McFarlane were about to start. So do something in that time. Mary Jane's an actress, and like the set's cursed, and it's because of Mysterio, but he's also doing other things, and you have Spider-Man have to deal with that while also worrying about Mary Jane, and you give her something to do. It's like, this isn't hard.
Do that story idea of Mysterio faking 9/11. No, maybe not.
Sometimes it's hard, but but there's pay the money and get David Michelinie and Bob Layton to do a nice prestige Iron Man.
Sure.
One-shot graphic novel.
Absolutely.
Why not?
Well, the idea seems right in front. Now there's hard evidence to show that it works. And maybe the missing secret here is just some company that's not Marvel had to basically do it and license and go. So hopefully, Abrams does more. Other companies see that, hey, maybe this is the right way to go. At this point, does somebody want to do a crowdfunding campaign, just raise some money to pay for the license and make a little company? Like, at this point, I want to see a campaign out there of raising money in order to create a licensing company that just goes and does Marvel books with the entire business model of, give me some money and we will go hire some of these legends and go for it.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many things they could be doing with this that would just make a ton of money. You could also get J.M. DeMatteis and Mike Zeck do a Captain America one-shot. That is a classic Captain America team that is still around and active. Unfortunately, we can't get Mark Grunwald, but but you might actually. Here's the money. Roger Stern, John Byrne, Joe Rubenstein, Cap, one shot. Get them to do that. They had their whole story that they planned to do the reintroduction of Red Skull. following what they were doing, give them 64 pages. That would
print money. It's not that expensive. It's a way to do it. I'm just glad to see somebody did it. I'm glad for I'm super glad for the Alex Ross's success with this. It's an awesome book. You got to go pick it up. It's great. And you know, support your local comic shop. But hey, $20 at Amazon is gonna be the best $20 you spend this month.
Yeah, and you know, Frank Miller Daredevil. Like, there's just so many other. There's so many. It's just why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you go get Frank Miller to do a Daredevil story, plan it out right now, get it licensed, do this exact same thing before the Daredevil Born Again series comes out, what, in a year and a half, piggyback on that movie's success. You know Marvel's not going to do anything intelligent with that. Go get Frank Miller, get Innocenti, do a original graphic novel, put it out through these guys, make a lot of money. Anyway.
Yeah.
Well, Joe, thank you very much. Hope you do feel better. And thanks everybody for listening.